Ah, yes. There's an old phrase, to be or not to be, but this year in the Masters right now, it's Scottie Scheffler or not Scottie Scheffler. He's the guy at the top. Is it his tournament, or are we going to get some craziness? Let's bring in our guys. Kyle Porter, Michael Breed, pleasure to have them in. Michael, I'll start with you. You watch him swing, and you see the progress that he's made, the leaps this year to do what he's doing, not only in this tournament, but really over the last few months. How has he gotten in this kind of zone?
I can tell you he got it through the Ryder Cup. That experience, that confidence to be sitting in the room with the best players in the world from the U.S., all of a sudden you go, you know what? I am one of the best players in the world. We've seen it before. We saw it with Freddie Couples in 1991 playing in the Ryder Cup alongside Raymond Floyd. And then what happens? He comes out and he wins the Masters in 92 with that very fortunate break. I think that's exactly what has taken place with Scottie Scheffler. He has all the touch necessary, a wonderful putter, plenty of length, moves the ball exclusively left to right. Randy Smith is his longtime head coach. And this is a guy who gained a lot of confidence back in September. And now he turns it into wins. And he has 3 of the last 5 tournaments that he's played in. He picks up victories. He's put himself in a wonderful position going into the weekend. And frankly, in my opinion, this is his turn. This is his tournament. And if he doesn't implode today, he'll have a green jacket.
Yeah, I think it's really fitting in a week at the Masters that's been dominated by Tiger Woods that the question that we're getting on the weekend is the same question we always got in his prime, which is, can anybody catch the number 1 player in the world over the last 36 holes? That number 1 player in the world is no longer Tiger Woods. It's now Scottie Scheffler. And I think, it was really intriguing because we came into the year talking on HQ, on the First Cut podcast. When's Scottie Scheffler going to win? He's so good statistically. He had that great Ryder Cup, like Michael mentioned. And he had kind of just like that aura about him that this guy's really good, but he hadn't won yet. And, 60 days ago, he still hadn't won yet. And now he's won 3 of the last 5, could be 4 of the last 6. And now kind of the question is, when is this guy going to lose? So I think he's just, like Michael mentioned, he's playing with so much confidence. But now, it's a different spot. It's different when you are 5 up on Friday night at the Masters than when you're trying to kind of sneak your way into to win the Arnold Palmer Invitational or the Phoenix Open in a playoff. This is a much different spot, and I'm really interested to see how he responds with so many great players chasing him over the next 2 days.
All right, we would agree that Scheffler, in terms of trying to win this tournament, he is the storyline. Is it going to be Scheffler or somebody else? What other storyline do you like on Saturday coming in other than the leader up 5 shots clear of the field with 2 rounds to play? Kyle Porter.
Yeah, I think the one that sticks out, we were just talking about this off camera, EK, is there's a couple of ball strikers at 1 under that I think really have a chance to go out and put up a great number. It's Colin Morikawa at 1 under. He kind of sneaked in the house at 1 under on Friday. And then Justin Thomas, who did not sneak in the house. He shot a round of the day with Scheffler of 67 on Friday afternoon. And those guys are just such great ball strikers that it's not difficult to envision them going out and shooting 68 or 67, maybe 69 if it's really kind of gusting this afternoon. And then if Scheffler goes out and shoots 74, then all of a sudden it's a pretty tight ball game between a couple of major winners in JT and Morikawa versus Scheffler going into Sunday morning.
I couldn't agree more with what Kyle just said. I think this is going to be about ball strikers. And you think about Morikawa, you obviously think about Corey Connors, and Dustin Johnson, who looked like he had a real chance to have a big round in round 1. He had just made birdie at 10, and then he sort of ran into a little lackluster play, and that continued into round 2. I think Dustin is going to figure this out. I think he's going to get comfortable with his driver, and I expect him to have a very good round of golf. I look at this as simple as this. If Scottie Scheffler can remove all of the noise and go out and play a round of golf today, I think it's going to be a open and shut case for him. But if Scottie Scheffler shoots 74, 75, possibly even 76, and comes back, starts talking about the biggest leads lost by players, and he lets all the noise get to him, which could happen, and I'll tell you why. because he has a very difficult time moving the ball from right to left. He's incredibly comfortable left to right. But we saw him get away. He escaped with a birdie at hole number 13 yesterday. Tiger did too, but escaped on a shot that he was trying to draw into that green, and he was unable to do it, and it did not go into the creek that guards the front and right side of that green. If Scottie continues to struggle with those right to left shapes, it's not out of the realm of imagination that he could shoot 74, 75, 76, and all of a sudden this tournament becomes a tournament. If he keeps his wits about him, removes all the noise, goes out there and shoots a couple under par, it's going to be just a very boring Sunday at Augusta National.
Michael, the storyline coming in was obviously Tiger Woods, and if nothing else, we see he can get around the course, he can be competitive, he can be in there. To a certain extent, he's already won. But you think he can actually make a move today and that he's not out of this thing, right?
Not by a long shot. This guy has shown us his short game is intact, though he's made a couple of mental mistakes with the short game and club selection. But he has all the control over launch angles, spin rates, and the keys to leaving the ball in the right spot. He hasn't gotten out of position. And that's one of the things that hasn't changed no matter what the body looks like. His mind is still very much intact. And again, as I said, if Scottie comes back and Tiger Woods gets a good night, and I don't know what his night was like, I don't know what his recovery has been like, but if he has a good night last night and he recovers properly, he irons out his iron game, which hasn't been fabulous so far, and gets control over his tee shots, which he did in that second nine, Tiger could go out there and he could shoot a 68 or possibly 67. And all of a sudden at +1, get this into that position where he's within a couple of shots going into Sunday. He could get it done.
When you look at Tiger, Kyle, and you're there on property, do you feel like he's poised to have a really good day? Or do you feel like, listen, he's already won, he's already proved enough, and it's a little bit too much of an ask to get him up the leaderboard and climbing and in this thing come Sunday?
Yeah, I think that's probably where I land. You know, I walked with him on both Thursday and Friday, and I don't know how it comes across on TV, but it's laborious. I mean, he's pretty cooked by the end of these rounds. And, you know, it's really cold out here today. It's about 50 degrees, 55 degrees right now. I don't know if that helps him. I think it might hurt him a little bit just in terms of the back being, or the back and the leg being fairly stiff. I agree with Michael. I think he can kind of sniff around contention. I just don't know if the body is going to allow him to really get up there in the mix. I mean, if you look at his numbers, he's only hit 18 of 36 greens in regulation. That's not necessarily a recipe for success around Augusta National, but I actually also think it speaks to his ability to score. You know, the way he hit the ball over the first couple of days, it was okay. It was about what I expected after 17 months off, but it wasn't as good as somebody like a Rory McIlroy or even a Brooks Koepka for much of the first couple of rounds. But Tiger just scored. He knows how to score around this golf course. So if he can get the tee to green game going a little bit, I think he can get it in red numbers and maybe kind of sneak up there at the bottom of the leaderboard. I just don't know that his leg and his body are going to fully allow him to get into real contention on Saturday afternoon.
All right, let's leave it here. Last question, gentlemen. Look into your crystal ball. When we go to bed tonight, what's going to be the headline in this tournament from today? It could be someone you think makes a move, somebody falls off, maybe it's the wind, something, anything. What's going to be something at the end of the day that's going to be one of the headlines? Kyle Porter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little clearer version of what we have right now, which is Scottie Scheffler trying to hold off the best players in the world. You're going to see the guys that are not true ball strikers at the top, I think, kind of fade away. Maybe a Schwartzel goes out and shoots 76, but you're going to see somebody, Morikawa, DJ, maybe Hideki, rise up. And I think Scheffler shoots something around 72, 73. So I think he's got a 3, maybe 4-stroke lead going into Sunday. And then it becomes, okay, can he hold off these 3 former major winners, these 3 elite ball strikers? And thankfully, EK, we've never seen a former Texas Longhorn who lives in Dallas, who's also the #1 player in the world, blow a big lead on Sunday at the Masters. So I don't know that Scheffler wants to walk in those footsteps of Jordan Spieth in 2016. Maybe 2015 is what he's looking at as he tries to close out this Masters.
I think Kyle's got that right on. I think there are some interesting points that he brings up, and there's a couple of things that are critical here. One, Scottie Scheffler is a very mature young man, and with the wisdom of Randy Smith, who's worked with a number of the best players in the world, Justin Leonard to name one. He is going to get that kind of sage advice that Butch Harmon would give to other players that he has worked with as they were on their way to winning major championships. And I think that that's going to really help Scottie. I think there's a couple of things that you need to pay attention to. Dustin Johnson, I think Dustin Johnson goes out there, and I think Dustin is one of those guys that if he gets hot with that driver and he starts to swing more freely with it, he can shoot a 4 or 5 under round very, very easily and take advantage of the par fives, which he hasn't done a good job of this week. That happens. I think you're going to get a pairing of Scheffler and DJ on Sunday, and it may be a 2 or 3 shot difference between the two. And if that happens, we are going to be treated to a fabulous Sunday. And by the way, the real story is Augusta National wins again.
Yeah, it has been a terrific tournament to watch and see, and you guys have done an unbelievably great job breaking it down. Thank you very much for the information and the analysis. And you want more, you need more, we've got more. That's right, First Cut, CBS Sports podcast, part of our great family of podcasts. Kyle Porter, rest of the crew, you download, you subscribe, you enjoy. And here's how you're going to watch the Masters. That's right. You got it covered. You want to broadcast coverage? It's obviously CBS. But Masters Live, right here with us, CBSSports.com, and both ways, either Masters Live or broadcast, streaming on Paramount+.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.